Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is boy B, the CEO. Once again, welcome back to B.O.K podcast, where we cover everything that is fatherhood related. Today, I have a legendary guest with me today.
There we go.
Man, Coach Thaddies. Listen, before I go into any more details, tell them who you are and where you're from, and then we'll start from there.
Well, they call me Coach Thad. So I'm originally from Delray Beach, Florida, born and raised. Andre Thaddies, grew up on the south side of Delray. Like everybody else, went to the Spady, Carver, Atlantic High, played at Pompey, all that stuff, just in the streets like everybody else from right here.
Man, well, first of all, man, listen, thanks for coming out. I appreciate you.
No problem.
I know you're a very busy person, so it means a lot. You are very well known in the city, in the county, pretty much. You think because you were from coaching at High School, is it more you just really out in the community? Like, what got you to be so well known by a lot of people?
Well, B, to keep it real, like we was talking about this earlier, Delray is small. Like we really think we're in this big city. We got like 4 families that everybody know each other, somebody's cousins and all that. But I just think mostly it's starting with the Rocks, right?
Delray Rocks. All
of us played for the Delray Rocks at one point or another. And your job, not only just to win, but trying to get your name out there, right?
Yeah.
So it's like 80 pound, 105, 135. So I think it started right there. And then playing baseball at Pompey Park, with Coach Red and all them. Everybody played baseball at that time back in the day. So you went from one sport to another as a jit. So, you kind of like starting to know each other with that. So now you got older and it's time to go to school and athletically and all that kind of stuff. Because at that time, we either went to B.O.K High, Spanish River, or Atlantic, right? So then we didn't have a whole lot of kids jumping and going down to West Palm School or going to Broward School, just them 3 schools, and we caught the bus and all that. So I think for the most part, it's like we know each other from Pompey, from the Rocks, from that competition, North Side versus the South Side. When we're doing sandlot football. So it's a combination of all that. And then playing high school, it's like it's competition, right? So it's like, you might have to stop number so-and-so from Spanish River or stop so-and-so from B.O.K High. So then you kind of develop a little reputation athletically, through that. But we all related one way or another. And the competition was greater because, you want to make sure that your homeboy from your same city don't outshine you. So I think a lot of that started there. Then I got into the high school and I had a pretty good high school career. So I just think now, people getting recruited wasn't that big back then. So it was a big deal to have somebody being recruited like D1 football.
Before we kind of go into that detail though, let's kind of bring it back even more, as you mentioned back then. So growing up in Delray, like how was it growing up? I'm sure you probably seen a lot change.
Oh yeah,
from the guy. So from your point of view, kind of walk us through briefly, how was it growing up here?
So I think growing up in Delray was similar for a lot of us, right? Athletics, church, right? Everybody go to St. Paul. You're gonna go to St. John. You're gonna go to North Side Church, South Side Church, and we divided our city like that. We always had the North Side and the South side. So we took pride in the areas where you live, right? So if you from Carver Park, like, oh yeah, we them boys.
Yeah.
If you over there from Pompey side, they the boys.
Yeah.
Frog Alley over there by the graveyard and stuff. So you took pride in your community. But when we came together, like baseball or the Rocks, man, it was one of those feelings where just unstoppable. It wasn't no hating, right? It's like you knew that if somebody was out there playing shortstop, he was the best shortstop for that team. If he was the quarterback for the Rocks, we knew that he was the best quarterback, but you still had that competition every week in practice.
Yeah.
It wasn't none of that daddy ball.
Slacking off, you might lose that spot.
Yeah. And the coaches then were your mentors, right? And we'll get into that later because, some of the coaches, they had jobs, they get off work and they were strict, bro. Like, it's like everybody back then who played for the Rocks, they knew, Coach Walt, Coach Benny, Coach Bump, Major Graham. It was just that, and you took pride playing for those guys. So it was just like that camaraderie all over and competition. Everything you do, competition.
And so you was raised on the North Side?
No, I was raised in the South
South Side?
Dirty
Come
South.
on,
Ninth
South Side.
Avenue. Ninth
Come
Avenue.
on. Shot the South Side.
Right there. That was that street full of athletes. So it's like every day you had to get it in.
Okay, so you was raised with your parents, your dad, your mom, both parents. How was the childhood like growing up?
So my childhood was cool because back then, like, you didn't know if you were poor, right? Because everybody was the same.
Oh, I see.
You know what I mean? You know, we stayed in little pink and white apartments right on 9th. My mom got married, so my stepdad, so he was there, but he worked a lot. That was cool though, right? Which was, kind of cool because you had a stepdad, you show that work ethic. And he liked to cook. So that's why I got my cooking stuff. So growing up there. But in the community though, it's like, you come home from school, change them clothes, and you out in the streets. You out playing, you shooting marbles, you riding your bike, you on your skateboard, you playing football in the road, tackling if you get on the grass. Then it was time to go to practice, whether it be Pompeii for baseball, or you had to go out to the Delray Rocks practice like at 5:30, 6 o'clock. So it was like that routine, and everybody walked to practice together, right? So it was kind of cool, not living on night like that, and you knew who your friends were, and who were not your friends. You know what I mean? So you just kind of kept it real, and you just stayed together. Okay,
and then you mentioned that your mom got married, and your stepdad came to the picture, and as you know, this is like a fatherhood podcast. You are a father,
correct?
So when you were growing up, though, your father, like your biological father, like, so was he around? Was he not around? Like, do you know anything about him as a young king? Like anything in that aspect?
No, not really. So when my stepdad came around, and he was kind of cool, right?
And what age was that when your stepdad came around?
Oh man, like 7. I think 7 or 8 when they first started getting together.
Okay.
Because I have my younger brother. So I was 10 years older than him. So in a couple of years, my mom had my younger brother from my stepdad. So I would say 7 or 8 when he came around. So he's always been around, doing that kind of stuff.
And then when he came around, so as a young man, I don't know how far, if you can remember back then like that around that age.
Yeah, it's back then too.
Right?
You're taking it way back.
Way back. But because to me, I believe that who we are as a man started off, who we used to be as a kid and how we was brought up by our parents and by our environment, by our peers. So that's how you could tell, okay, how this person is like that because of how he was in the past or how the parents was. But around that age though, if you can remember, do you remember like seeing any difference when it was just you and your mom, and then when the stepdad came in, that male role model came in? Did you see a difference, or do you even remember?
You know what? I don't really remember a difference, and I'll tell you why. Because I had older cousins, right? So my cousin Tomcat, my cousin Frank. So when we were like 5, 6, 7, we was all learning how to catch for football or baseball. So they were always around, right? So they were always around. So we knew about that male role model piece of it. But when my stepdad came around, I noticed like work, right? Because I ain't never see, a black male going to work. My cousin, they didn't really work. They had them little jobs. Yeah. Then my cousin Tomcat got on with the city. But my stepdad came around, that's when I like really learned about working, right? So he did construction. And then sometimes at night, he was a waiter at the Pompano Harness at the racetrack. I remember that because he's always bring home these matches, from the restaurant, and have to put on the red coats with a little black bow tie and all that stuff. So I realized, damn, he done work all day. Now he's finna go out there and do the waiter at night. It's like, okay, that's cool. And I never forget it real quick. So when I got a little older, he bought me a little tool belt, some boots, but I had to pay him back, construction, and took me on a construction site. I was in 10th grade. And I worked out there, and I realized ain't no way in hell I'm doing this for the rest of my life. Right? Man, them grades shot up. I'm like, listen, I know this ain't me. I just that's just not for me. Climbing ladders, construction. You got to bring them dudes a box of nails and some 2x4s. I'm like, man, ain't no way in hell I'm doing this for the rest of my life.
Why? Was it because it was too hot? It was just too much?
Man, it was 95 in the shade. Yeah. I'm like, listen, then we still had football practice in the summer after that. So I'm going to practice in work boots and some jeans. And our coach didn't care about what you did all day. He's like, you still finna get it, right? So it's like, this outdoor working ain't for me. So it's like I knew that wasn't for me. But making that money that summer, I realized and I respected those guys because what we learning now, we need to teach our young black boys. That construction, you get paid.
Oh yeah, no, you do.
You get paid. Them roofers, them guys who doing the iron workers and all that stuff, the carpenters, man, they getting paid, right? And that was back then. I'm looking at it like, man, I'm getting like $150 check, in 1 week.
Yeah, you know,
back then.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So, but you earn every bit of that $150 though.
Yeah,
they got it.
So how did you get into football then? Because your cousins put you in?
Like, definitely my cousins.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I've been doing football since I was 5 or 6. My grandma's backyard. We on the 13th Avenue in the South Side backyard. You just play ball. Like you come home from, like I said, change them clothes. You playing something. If you ain't got a football, you got towels or socks rolled up. You got boys from down the street over here. Next thing you know, you got 7, 8 boys in the yard, trying to tackle each other. So it was just one of those things where you couldn't wait to get on the rocks because you've been watching when you're little. So it's like you couldn't wait your turn.
Man, so they've been out that long, Darryl Rocks? They've been out for like, because you played in Darryl Rocks, you saying?
I played in Darryl Rocks.
So they like really.
Hold on. How you gonna be like, so you played in Darryl Rocks?
No,
like, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody played in,
No, because they still thriving. Because I had to say, big ups to Darryl Rocks. Because to be last thing for that long, and they made a lot of great stars, a lot of great people, a lot of great men. So to still be thriving, that's really unheard of. Because a lot of time, these kind of things, cut short, they end up stopping. But man, to still be going on strong, man, big ups to them, man.
Yeah.
Playing in Darryl Rocks though, so did that make you love football? In other words, what was the moment that said, you know what, this is it, this is what I want to do? Because you didn't want to do construction, of course. But what made you say, you know what, I want to play ball?
No, it was, I don't even know. So what was big then too was baseball, right? So Pompeii baseball was big. So I remember like when your team win, you go to the strong team tournament. I mean, like you won your park. Now your team gets to go travel against other parks and compete. And we were mostly 99% all black at Pompeii Little League. So we had Derry American, that's Pompeii. Then you had Derry National over there on Linton. So over there, that park way over there. So it was like, we were competitive in baseball. So it was kind of like, now you see it now, like football, everybody doing it. But baseball was that thing too. And we were just as competitive. The boys wanted to play, and we had like 7 or 8 teams at Pompeii, literally playing baseball. So I just loved the both of them, right? So I didn't have football to me wasn't better, but baseball was more exciting, right? Because you knew everybody and you there. Then they got them hot dogs and them French fries. So so it was a big thing, and all the parents like right there in the bleachers. So it was more intimate, right? You could see your mom, you could see your auntie, your grandma and them at the game because they right there at the park.
Football is all you got to sell.
Yeah. So, but it was for us growing up. I would say a lot of us, it was equal because we had tons of young boys playing baseball at Pompeii.
Okay, but what made you choose the football route and not the baseball route then?
So, playing football, I remember like I was on the 135. I hurt my shoulder. Then I hurt my shoulder again. So I got to the point where every time I have to play football, I have to put on this harness to keep my shoulder in place. And it felt like it came out of place, but it's like this thing, subluxation or the tendons. So I couldn't throw. Like for a whole year, I remember Coach Red, used to work us out and do it. And I played baseball for Atlantic my freshman and going into my sophomore year. And there's one, I don't even remember his name, coach at Atlantic. So we used to have to practice at Miller Park, which is on Linton, way over there. And we went to Atlantic, the old Atlantic. Yeah. At Seacrest. Yep. So I had to catch my bus home, change my clothes, get on my bike, and try to ride and be to practice on time. Well, a lot of the Atlantic players had white boys. They had cars and stuff. So they already there. And this coach used to make me run, like, because I'm late. It's like, coach, hello, like, bro. Yeah. But he wasn't feeling it. So I was like, you know what? Something happened one day, and one of my teammates, Dan Small, I remember, Dan just went off bad on him. So I just left. Then we went back to track. So then track, boom, within 2 months, that became my favorite sport.
Okay. What was it about track that said, you know what, let me do that more than football and baseball?
Because it's you against yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, Benz, I bet I beat you in 100. I bet you won't. Like, so now I ain't got to worry about if the quarterback didn't throw the ball to me right.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? If the receiver dropped my ball in and stuff, it's like, I'm going to train hard enough to know that I can get that goal time.
Yeah.
So if I know I get so you can set your own personal goals, and it's pretty much up to you to reach it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you want to long jump 20 feet, you better work hard to long jump your steps, your practice, the competition, the technique. So there's a lot more stuff that you can control. So I like that part of it, where you can control how well you do. Like, a lot of it is 90% of it is you, right? It's totally you. So you can't blame no coaches and your teammates. It's straight you.
And so you ran track in Atlantic as well?
I ran track at Atlantic.
So you did football, then track in Atlantic, and baseball too.
Mm-hmm.
So you did all three.
Yeah.
Man, okay.
So my freshman, sophomore year. So I stopped baseball after my sophomore year. So
because of the injury.
No, because that coach was getting on my damn nerves. And tripping like the bike ride.
So coach can lose good players.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh yeah. It was something about that. You know, it's like, and I ain't finna throw out the racism thing, but it's like, well, I think it was 2 or 3 of us. It's like, you see how I'm getting to practice, right? It's not like my mama bringing me late, or I'm just walking up, taking my time, eating some chips, right? It's like, bro, I had to wait on the bus to get here, then get on my bike to come here. So it's like, it wasn't really no love for that dude. So I was just like, you know what?
Yeah.
And, so I'd rather go out and do something else. And we went to track right then and there.
Now, so being in Atlantic, because, I know it's the old one, but Atlantic itself is a very staple high school in the city. Now, how was it for you, though, man? How was it back then in that era growing up in Atlantic? Was it, A's and B's and F, or was it like thriving? Was it more of a more community? Was it like wild? Like, how was it around that time?
No, it was different, bro. Like, when I remember y'all was at school, it was I tell you different. So Atlanta was a lot more white, right? More white.
Back then?
Oh my God, bro. A lot more white students. So we had like 3 or 4 buses, right, that picked us up in Delray, and we went to Atlantic, right? So then you had a couple buses from Boynton, right? Because most Boynton kids, San Lucius wasn't open there. I mean, not until my junior year they opened in. Boynton High was not there. So a lot of them went to Lake Worth. And then just a few people from Boynton came. So I don't know the percentage, so I don't want to make that up, but I definitely say 60-40. It was not even equal. Yeah.
I thought it was always like a black school.
No. Even then, like, I don't know if you know Miss Odom, she was one of the first blacks to go to Atlantic. When it was Seacrest High. So yeah, Atlantic was a very Eurocentric school. So I think when we got there, a lot of, but it's been for a while. You knew it. You didn't feel it because in your class, you see the brothers, right? But it was kind of like, for me, I didn't feel no sense of racism though, right? It was still cool because a lot of them white boys you knew, from middle school, because we all came from Carver, right? Or they came from Congress. So we already knew them, since middle school, because even then Carver was mixed.
Mixed up. A lot of white kids. It wasn't over there. That location was somewhere else.
Village Academy.
That was Carver.
Yeah, that was Carver. That building over there, Delray Full Service Center. That was Carver Middle School. Oh. And that was Carver High School. So when Delray was winning state championship, the only high school state championship that was won in Delray was when Carver High School in the 60s.
I didn't even know they had a high school named Carver High School. Yeah,
Carver High. So over there, Delray Full Service, where Village Academy on that campus was Carver High School in the 60s, and they was kicking ass.
Now, was that school more black kids?
Carver
High School? Yeah.
It was all black.
Okay, but how come you didn't end up going to Carver High?
It was no longer. That's what.
It was stopped already.
Yeah, that was done. So Carver no longer existed for high school.
Yeah.
So then in the early 80s, late 70s, it's converted to the middle school. So we did go to that building, but it was Carver Middle. Yeah.
Man. Okay, so now when you was in high school, you running track, but you ended up going and playing football in college. So why didn't you keep on the track route? Did you just say, you know what, okay, I did enough, I'm good? Or what made you go football and not the track all the way?
Well, so, man, I didn't even know anything about recruiting, bro. It's like, now you make me feel old, man. But listen, check this out. So film, like recruiting was different. So you had a good game. We looking at this camera right now.
Yeah.
That automatic finna go to your huddle, like right now. And you can call all the coaches and say, hey, the film last night Ben's just played is already up. I'm finna post that on this huddle. They get it right now. Man, I know you're a film guy. We had reel to reel.
Yeah,
remember that? And all that stuff right there. Yeah. So, then we watching the film. If it mess up, coach got to splice it, got to put it back together. Yeah. Man, it take 2 hours to watch a half of 1 quarter of football, right?
Yeah.
So now with that being said, recruiting, the coaches had to trust your high school coach to say, hey, Thad, he really that real deal. You need to come down and check him out. Because it wasn't even then. And so my senior year, VHS came. So that was a lot better then. So then we got the VHS. Then we can package and send the VHS out a lot more. But I think what happens, and I try to tell kids this all the time, like all the time. Everybody can find your track times, right? Because you don't have to have a video. You can just know, hey, there was this track meet in Belgrade, Burger King Invitation, the best of the best, going to be out there. And Atlantic won the 4x1. Atlanta came in first and second in the 100. Here go their times. But who are the guys? Eric Hunter, Andre Thaddies. And now they running. So now the football coach is like, whoa, they got kids out there running 10-folds, right? This is in the 80s. So now, and I heard that the football coach, wrote a letter about him. So now that helped. That's the same thing today, right? But these young men right now, I'm trying to convince them that track is one of the best sports that can help you, right? I don't care if you're a jumper. You ain't got to be the fastest thing. You can do the shot put, right? D lineman, they work on their footwork. High jumper, working on the explosion. I don't even know if K-Hatch told you, K-Hatch triple jump. So he came out there, and K-Hatch one of the slowest dude ever to play at Atlantic. Now I'm just messing with him. He ain't gonna ever run no 4-4, right? But when jumping though, so when you get to that 45 range jumping, that's explosive, right? Yeah. So now you have great football, then you add proof that, damn, he a 45-foot triple jumper? That's explosion. So if you jump, you can hit it. Yeah. So that was one of the things that matched. And RIP with Legis. Same thing with John Legis, man. John would jump 6'6" in a high jump. McKinson. So a lot of people don't know that McKinson was by far a better track athlete than he was a football player. Right? So his senior year,
Black Michael Vick?
Haitian Vic was yeah. He was the number one in the 110 hurdles in the region, number one in the 300 hurdles, number one in the high jump, and he just ain't go to regions. Don't know what he was going through. They said, Coach, I can't make it today. He just didn't go. Then we had to do a scratch. Like when you tell me all the coaches looked up and now they know they have a chance to win the whole region because that would have been 30 points that Haitian Vic would have got by itself. Yeah. So he was that dude, bro.
So the track definitely helps out a lot as a ball player.
Yeah.
Yeah, because right, because as far as speed goes, definitely that's on top. You get the speed by default.
It's the agility, the speed. You have big boys. Right now, Aaron Wilfalk, he still holds a bunch of records in the shot and disc. We can go on and on. We have my teammate, Anthony Hamlet, he was not a big lineman, right? Because we weren't big back then. So Hamlet about 6'4", 195. And he ran the hurdles, 200, maybe 200. And Miami came down. He was hurdling. Man, 2 weeks later, he signed a scholarship to football, play at the University of Miami. And that was history, right?
Yeah.
He would have never got recruited as a O-line, D lineman because he was only 195, 200 pounds. But when they saw that, and back then with Miami, they speed. The Hurricane, the speed. If you play safety in high school, they're going to move you to linebacker. If you play linebacker, they move you to DN. You play DN, they move you to the tackle because they want speed. And that's the stuff right now. If you look at college football, still today, they're looking for that speed. Yeah. We'll teach you the other positions, but you can't teach a 4.3 and 4.4.
Yeah. If you slow, you slow. You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
Now, okay, so you mentioned Miami Hurricane. So now you also mentioned that back then, going to, I guess, getting recruited wasn't as big as it is now, because now every kid want to be recruited and go to NFL. Right. So for you then, because you did end up going to playing college football. So, but at the time though, that was on your mind. How did you know that? You know what? I could get a scholarship, or did you even know?
Didn't even know. I didn't even know. I'll tell you how when I found out. My senior year, we had seniors, Anthony Hamlet, Jason Jester, myself. The guidance counselors would call us down to the office at hi, these schools are looking for your transcripts, right? And they want to know how your grades are. I'm like, cool. What is that for? And I talked to one of our assistants, Coach Bartholomew, and he would do all that work to send out these letters. And that's when we found out now, like, that's recruiting, right? That's what it is. We send out letters to the different schools trying to entice them to offer you a scholarship. Okay, what's a scholarship?
Oh yeah. Oh, you didn't even know what that was.
No.
Wow.
Because then there weren't many guys before us did it. Bobby Butler that came out of Atlantic, went to Florida State. We watched them play, but we were like 7, 8, 9. So we didn't know what that meant. Mo Wesley, and we had some great guys that played before us, but we never knew what that terminology was in terms of scholarship. So we were learning. So that senior year we were learning. Oh, you had to make sure. I remember one time I was missing a science credit, but we didn't need science for 3 years, something like that. But for the college I wanted to go to, they needed another level of science. So I got into science that second semester. So it was, so you learning like what classes are required. You can't take them old dummy classes. You know, you had to make sure you take at least geometry and algebra 2. And that's when you started understanding what academic requirements were. And so when those guidance counselors, I never forget it, man. It is just, and unfortunately with the times, I would expected that back in the day, but until it hit you, remember earlier I said it wasn't really no racism, you know, back then it was kind of cool. But this lady said to us, it's like, hey, Hamlet, I see you Miami's looking at you. And Thaddies, it was at that time, it was Michigan State and Minnesota was looking at you. And Jason Jester, FAMU was looking at you. And they wanted like, so don't you guys think you should start thinking about going to FAMU with him? Like, wouldn't that be a better fit for you guys? And I'm thinking, because you know that Miami and Minnesota, they're going to require some good grades. And I'm like, well, look at my grades. She hadn't even looked at the damn grades.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? She just assumed it, bro. Wow. And to this day, Hamlet's a doctor, right? He's Dr. Hamlet. He was a superintendent of schools in Pittsburgh. He was a principal here in Palm Beach County schools, right? So it's like, man, we had to deal with that. All these 4 years of football, we're doing it. Nothing wrong with fam, right? Ain't no wrong, but you just made that assumption. You know, ooh, you want to make sure your grades, you know, like wow.
Like you guys dumb, but you're just good at playing ball, but you're not smart enough to get to the...
I didn't even get it. I was a class president. So it's like, damn, lady, do you not like know me other than just football? So that's when you realize, you know, people look at you differently. Right. And that was then, and I'm telling you this story 37 years later, because that's why I'm passionate about these kids right now. About, bro, it's like you can score all the touchdowns and hit all the home runs and dunk all the balls all you want to. Soon as your eligibility over there, the people don't care nothing about you, right? If them W's gone, you know what I'm saying? It's like, listen, bro, let's get there. Let's make sure you get those academics. If you want to go to college through academics, go ahead. You know what I'm saying? If you wanna go do construction, if you want to go be a chef, go ahead, right? So it's the stuff where we got to start teaching our boys early. So now that I'm back into this coaching, it's like, bro, it was weird, man. Man, when I tell you, it's hit or miss with some of these kids. It's hit or miss. It's like, oh, y'all can't play for the Power 5, bro. They all wanna. The Power 5 ain't for everybody anyway, right?
And you said one key thing too, you know, because you know we're gonna go into like you know, with the nonprofit and working with the boys. But one key thing you said is that you want to make sure that the boys get their grades up, academics up, because not only because you know we are not making in football, but also sometimes you can get injured. Cause you know, I've interviewed Cornell and also like Rod Johnson, like they was going there. But anything can happen. You know what I mean? Now once you get injured and all you know is just football, no academics, now what? Now you just far behind in life now. You're trying to catch up. So it's good that you say, hey, we're not saying don't play ball, but also make sure your brain's on point, just like your physical's on point as well.
Absolutely.
As you being a coach, you know, like when you get a kid that's playing football, they think about NFL. But back then, Yeah, I wasn't dreaming that far because y'all didn't know how to even get there. So
didn't even know how to get to college, so you didn't even know what scholarship was. So no, I never. I've always liked the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I never was that kid like I'm gonna be an NFL player. I'm gonna be an NFL player. I'm gonna be an NFL player. Never. And here's the funny thing about it. I told a few people this. When I first got on the campus at the University of Minnesota, I went to the track coach because I knew I was going to run track there too. Right? I went to the track coach. I said, Coach, can I get a track scholarship? And I would turn in my football scholarship. He laughed. Like, you know what I mean? Like, son, that ain't how it works here. Like, our budget's nowhere near the football budget, right? So you can run track, but we can't replace your scholarship from football, right? They get 85 scholarship. We get 10, trying to split it up to get 25 people. So that's then I didn't even know anything about it. So that's how much interest I had in football. I was willing to go do track. And that was in 1987.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you go to college. Okay, first of all, when your mom and your stepdad found out, hey, you're going to college for free, like, yeah, how did that feel? I mean, was it like I'm sure they did. If you didn't know, they didn't know either about scholarship.
No, we're learning that process together.
Yeah. So now your mom and your stepdad. So yeah. So how was that explained to them? You know, when your son would go to college for free and playing football, how was that in that time? You know what I'm saying?
So that was, because that's when the coaches come visit, right? They come visit. That's when you call the mom. I remember like my favorite college coach, Coach Miller. He came over. My stepdad ran to the corner store, got some 6-pack of Heineken. You know, they popping the tops. Now they talking, right? It's like so. Then now I think they were learning it. You know, as each coach calling the house, coming to the house, that stuff. So they were learning that process as well.
And then so you was playing what, cornerback? Well, like what you was playing in both high school and college? What position?
So actually, I played safety. So I was safety at Atlantic and running back. So when I went to Minnesota, they put me at corner, and I had never played corner a day in my life, right? Like not even on the rocks. So I'm thinking to myself, it's like, so I had to learn this whole new position because they wanted speed. And it's like, listen, we just need speed on the corners. So it's like, I said, okay, well, so I asked to get redshirted, right? So let me learn my craft. Let me get
so you asked to get redshirted.
Interesting. These boys today who don't go because they don't want to sit for a year, that's the dumbest thing on earth. On earth.
Okay, let's
I want to play right away. Dumbest thing on earth.
Okay. To their defense though, why would you not want to play right away? Because I mean, I see what you're saying. But put yourself, I guess, in their shoes right now. Why would you not want to play right away, though? Why would you want to?
Well, so now you have choices, right? So it's like right now, I get to get in the weight room.
Like being redshirt?
Being redshirt. Okay. You get to practice. You in the weight room. You learn in the campus life. You get to spend time with the tutors. You know, you really get it. You building up your body, right? And if you really at that program, right? Everybody want to go to Power 5. So if I want to go to Florida, I want to go to LSU. Yeah, everybody think they are that. If you're an incoming freshman, you really think you're going to take something at a national contention team, that team's sorry now, right? Yeah. So how you going to let a freshman come in and be your starter? Like, come on. True, so you ain't that ain't that team. Now, this is my opinion. Okay. But now you can go to schools and be a freshman. You can play right away because there's that spot, right? Or there are them dogs. There's a couple on there's a couple dogs, you know, that come out that can play right away, size wise and all that stuff. If that need is there at that particular school, but just going in there and making your decision of which school I'm going to choose based on me playing right away. That's what I'm saying, because you got to look at the other stuff. You got to look at the academics, getting adjusted, you know, to this campus life, right? Because what people don't realize, man, when you get to college, they're going to tell you when to take the classes, when you have to be done with the classes, because you got to be on film, you got to be in weight room. You know, it's a lot of that stuff is really condensed, right? So it's a lot better now because NCAA limits the amount of practice time. So back then, there was no limitation on practice time. You could be in practice 3.5 hours, then go lift weights. But then you still have your study hall. So I just look at it this way as like, what's the rush?
That's what you're saying.
If I'm going to go to Miami and I can get redshirt, I still got 4 more years to play. Right? Yeah. And I remember Brandon Flowers, we had a talk once. And about that, it's like they had a projection of where he's going to get drafted. right? So I remember when he was at VTech, he called, we were talking about it. So the NFL will send projections. Hey, you might get drafted in the mid fourth to early fifth rounds, which wasn't no money for that type of stuff. Now, if you were redshirt, but you got one more year eligibility, you can go back. So what if they didn't go back? Now you have to go in that fourth or fifth round.
I see.
As opposed to maybe I have a red shirt year that I can take and go back and improve my stock. So now I can go early second, late first.
Yeah.
Bam. That contract is whole different. It looks a whole lot different. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So now, so in your case, so back then you went and volunteered to be redshirt.
But that's for me, yeah. But even when I tell kids right now, when I was coaching, you know, with all them boys coming out, like, listen, pick the school that's best for you. Like, them coaches, they gonna tell you anything, right? Because it's about winning, right? For them, I want to win this battle of the recruiting.
Yeah,
I want to have the ESPN top 300, bro. How you know number 298 is good? Who put the top 300? Man, we got dudes we don't even know that might be in Belgrade, Pahokee, that ain't get that national attention. That's the real deal, right? So now you got to go to all these camps and, you know, all this stuff and run, and people rate you and scout you. I mean, I think there's a difference between a 5-star and a 3-star. Absolutely, I ain't gonna do that. But is there really a difference between a 4-star and a 3-star, or a 4-star and a 5-star? It depends on how many camps he's gone to, right? And his statistics. Or if he played in a conference that wasn't that good and you throwing for 3,500 yards, but the teams you playing against are booty. You know, that's how I look at it.
Yeah, okay. So kind of like find out the football part. So did you end up winning any like championships over there? Like, did you end up balling out? I mean, like, what was the big, besides being there, did you get any major achievement? Like, man, I done broke this record or that trophy, like, or my next goal was the NFL. Like, what was the next big thing?
No, so it was just fun, right? So we were not very competitive at that time in the Big Ten. So it was still the Michigans, it was still Michigan States, Ohio States, that was still kind of like ran the Big Ten for that part. And we were down toward the bottom, unfortunately. So it was never really that hype. I think we only had, the 5 years I was there, I think we had 2 winning seasons, like 6-5, right? And I never went to a bowl game. Right? I think we came in third one time in the Big Ten 4x1 at the Big Ten championship. But the experience, though, was kind of cool, right? Playing in the dome, playing in front of 75, 80,000 people, and just having that opportunity of playing in the Big Ten was for me at that time was enough, right? And it's like, you know, you still have those memories, still talk to some of your homeboys, reminisce about that. And then just having that, knowing that you're not supposed to like Wisconsin. Why? Because we're playing for the Axe, right? You're not supposed to like Michigan because you're playing for the Jug, or Iowa, you're playing for the Pig. So the Big Ten, you had like competitive games every week because there was a trophy to be won. So those games were like extremely high level competition is high. So it was just like fans go crazy. So that experience to me, you know, justified enough for that college experience.
And also I would also add too, just going to college with a scholarship playing ball, to me, that's a big achievement. I mean, especially back then. I mean, like now it still is for young black boys. We talking about back then where, you know, like it was a lot harder back then to get out the city, get out the mud, like just to become somebody. So congrats to that, man. Cause it showed, cause you being a coach, you know, cause you know, even when I play ball, it takes a lot of work to do, a lot of commitment. You gotta work, you gotta commit, you gotta show up, and you don't just like, you know, go half and then next thing you're gonna make it. No, you gotta really put in the work. So that means you actually went to school, put in the work, practiced, did all that, went to college, got a free scholarship, and all that, and your mom, dad didn't have to spend any kind of money on that. That's a very proud thing to do, man. You know what I mean? So that's a good achievement. Okay, now after college, then what? Because you, like you said, back then it wasn't NFL. So now being a young, because you're still young as out of college. So what was the next move?
So after college, so we were done. I remember that game coming back from Iowa. That was my last college football game. We was on the plane coming back, and we got into the airport, and the coach announced that he had gotten fired, right? So on Monday, it was just like you turn in your stuff, right? And you're like done. So it's kind of like, your eligibility is over. You done. You still have your scholarship until graduation time. So that rest of November, December, January, February is like, now you going to college and you don't have to go to practice. And you see these people and like you're a regular student now. Then you realize, man, I've been missing this, right?
Oh.
You know, you can take the classes whenever you want to take them. You can go do the college stuff. You can go hang out at the student union. You know, and it's like you can go sit under the tree and go to lunch whenever you want to and all that kind of stuff. So it was like, wow. And although the football was exciting, but we never got that experience. And when for one last semester, I saw that opportunity to be a regular student. And that was just, man, that was like school. So that, to me, I was telling people now, as I got older, it's like, you can get academic scholarships. I ain't know about that. So imagine that you can go to school for scholarships and grants, but you don't have to do that sport to have them dangle that carrot in front of you. And you can take the classes kind of when you want to, and you can like make sure that, you know, your schedule fits your job. You can go, you can go work on campus or something. You know what I mean? And just, so I think that opportunity was very memorable, right? Having that one semester of being a regular college student before graduation was awesome. I loved it.
And then so you used to like, I guess the major was sociology, what you were studying. Was that the major you?
Yeah, I majored out sociology. Yep.
Okay. And then so now once you got done, did you end up, I guess, going to that field, or was it more, you know what, let me get into coaching? Like, yeah, so what ended up becoming the next move after college when you graduated and left?
So right before I graduated, I had got a job. So I applied for a job. I was like, listen, I graduated in 6 weeks and, you know, gave transcripts and all that stuff. And it was working in social services, and it was a group home for people with developmental disabilities. That was my first job out of college. And you weren't getting paid a lot of money, but it's like, okay, I still had a scholarship, so my apartment was paid. So like, you know, if I could stack up a couple of dollars for these 2 months before June came, right, I can just boom, I have some money, now I'm working. Because it went on NIL back then, bro. So if you did get some money, it was under the table and it was $20 here, $100 there. It wasn't no big money how the boys getting it today.
The boys getting paid.
So you had to go out there and work to save the money. But that experience of working was real cool. And one of the summer jobs they had us do, I was a security guard for Honeywell, a big company, and one of the VPs, he used to like a co-owner of the Harlem Globetrotters. So he got us as security. And they were paying, like, I didn't realize, like, this is 1991, bro, 92, and they were paying like $14 an hour to be a security guard. Yeah, so I'm looking at life different. It's like, there's so many different things you can do. And those people that was working in the factories, man, you talking about those nice trucks, just trucks, big old work trucks. And, you know, I'm like, yeah, these people are making like $19, $21 an hour in these factories, right? Doing that stuff. Yes, that's what I learned about unions. So I just think then it's like I'm learning about like the workforce, the real world, what a union is, how important it is to belong to a union, right? People just can't step all over you. You know, there's rules, there's guidelines, and there's a lot of people who are going to support you. So that was kind of cool then. And then, you know, then I was thinking like, okay, you know what? I want to buy a house. So now I'm thinking like
around what age would you say you started having those thoughts? In your 30s or 20s? Like,
no, bro, like when I graduated. So
wow,
like,
so you went to your house, like, well, the house was cheap. Well, no, it was a lot, but it was cheap as hell back then. Compared to
yeah. It was cheaper, and we were in Minnesota. So yeah, so at that time, it was my wife now, Cassandra.
Oh, yeah, met her after college? Or
I met her at college. Right. So we were together in college. So then we moved together, right? And then after college, we moved to another apartment in the suburbs, right? So we went to the suburbs. So I was thinking like, okay, let's start saving money for a house, right? Because, you know, I grew up a lot in an apartment. Then my senior year, we moved to a house in Delray Shores. But now we want to buy the house because we, you know, wanted to have a baby. Like we wanted to have babies early so that when we get older, like our kids will be older. So, and that's what we did. We planned to buy the house. We bought a house. We wanted to move in before the baby was born. He was born in March, and we moved in the house April 1st. Oh, so just goals, right? Just trying to set them goals after college and just do it and work, right? Because you go to work, you take care of your kids.
Yeah. The child was born here. So your first son, what was Andre your first son? Or?
Yeah, AJ is my first son.
And then
Andre Jr. in Minnesota. Both of my kids were born in
Minnesota.
Yeah.
Oh, so before you even came down here, you already had 2 kids already.
Bro, I stayed in Minnesota 17 years. I didn't move back here till 2001.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, okay, so now what age you had your first son? You had
24.
You was young.
Yeah. That was my goal.
Is it because like back then people had kids early at a very young age? Like they planned. I mean, now people have kids early, but it's not planned. But you planned it, George.
No, we planned it. Yeah, we planned it. We wanted to have a baby early because like at 50, we wanted the boys to be gone
old enough where they're not relying on you.
Right. They can still be with us, but just like independent.
Yeah.
Right?
That's smart.
Yeah, so and just be us to travel and all that kind of stuff. So we definitely planned that.
So
so and then so then a couple 3 years later we had Quentin, but then I got into coaching. So that's when in Minnesota, that's when I first got into coaching.
You was coaching in Minnesota after you gave birth. You had a child after your second son.
First son.
Oh, okay. So you got into coaching early.
I got into coaching right away.
Right after like college. After those jobs?
No, we graduated in 1992. My first coaching job was 1993.
Wait, how did you know you wanted to be a coach? I mean, how did you get into that world of coaching? Because that's not a whole other.
I didn't, bro. Like my homeboy, Chris Corn, right? He was from Minnetonka High School. That's one of them suburban high schools. And he was a PE major, right? And he just loved the athleticism. And he was good at hurdles. And he's like, come out the track. So again, remember, track became my thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so we came out the track and he's like, you want to come coach? Like, yeah. So he got my job.
Coaching for track?
Coaching for track at Minnetonka High School. So the job I was telling you at the group home, that was literally around the corner from that high school. So it worked out perfectly. So at a certain time I would leave work and I tell them, hey, I'm going to track practice. I'll be back in an hour and a half. And I did that for a couple of years. And then a football coaching job at the same school came available. So he said, you want to come coach football? So I did the high school football out there. And it's so different, then. And I don't know if it was because it was the 90s or because it was Minnesota. And now I'm looking at Minnesota still, and they still do it. So it was different. You had to get like certifications, like big time certifications to coach. You had to be going to this workshop. You have to go to this. It's almost like a card carrying coach, right?
Yeah.
And technique, because they didn't have the quantity of super athletes like Florida does, right?
Yeah.
But they technique and their discipline and the coaching and the coaching and the coaching. Man, I just learned that so quick. And that's what got me like really excited because now
about coaching.
Yeah, because I was like, now I'm thinking, man, I wish my coach would have taught me that in high school. I wish I would have known that in high school, right? I wish I would have known, and just set go and just run fast. Technique, drive phase, this phase, and all the different phases to running, the phases to backpedaling, all that stuff. So I really learned how to be a coach in Minnesota, like from the basics.
You feel like when you came down here and started coaching, you feel like it was the opposite where you guys have great players, but lacking great coaches?
For some, at some schools. And I think we were blessed. So, because when I came back here, Chris Bean had already been a coach, right?
Coach Bean?
Coach Bean was already at Atlantic. Yeah. And we grew up together. So we knew it. So Bean was a DB coach.
Oh, man.
So Bean was like, Dad, listen, I'll go to offense. You take over the DBs. And then Coach Caesar.
Yeah.
Coach Caesar was at Atlantic, came from River, came over to Atlantic. And then I brought that whole Minnesota thing. I knew the boys were looking at me different, right? Like, listen, we ain't doing all that cone and backpedal shit all over and over and over. Listen, we're going to learn cover two. We're going to learn shuffle, jam. And I remember the player like, Coach, we do the same thing over and over and over every day. Same thing over and over and over. I'm like, okay.
They couldn't understand why, because they're not used to it.
Yeah, like we going to do the same thing over and over and over, right? It's like, muscle memory, right? I'm a DB, like muscle memory. Now, if you got your technique down in combination with your athleticism, and then now I'm trying to teach you understanding the game, especially with the safeties, because I just love coaching the safeties, what the hashes mean, like how to play off the hash, what are you reading, You know, why are you looking over here? It ain't but one football. The quarterback got it. So we reading him. Like all that, just the basics, bro, just that stuff. So it's the same stuff over and over and over. And I just got that from Minnesota because it's like, if you teach them and if you, the physical part, right, the technique part, and then you teach them the mental about the game and knowing the game and where to be on the field, reading a uncovered lineman, if he come out as a run, so why you still backpedaling? He can't throw the ball if the tackle blocking the linebacker, right? So let's go field. Just that stuff over and over. So that was one of the things that then, you know, we took pride in that. You know, I came back here. Then that's when DBU started, right? DB University. So I just wanted to make sure in that competition again that our DBs are better than anybody else on the field, right? Yeah. So you got that competition in practice. Like the DB is the best group. No, the running backs are the best group. So now if you at Atlanta and them boys going at it every day, you know, so it's like, so come practicing or playing on Fridays, it's quicker, as fast, as easy. Because you playing, you know, the best against the best, iron sharpening iron every day at practice at Atlantic.
But to finalize that Atlantic part, now as a coach, I mean, I guess walk me through your mind. I mean, how does it feel to seeing young kids you coach balled out even after, you know, like high school, like whether it's like the Cornells or wherever? Right. Like, yeah, it's kind of from a coach perspective. How do you feel? Are you like a proud, like in a way, like a proud dad in a way, like damn, like you balling out?
Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you what was more like when, especially those guys who followed and they went to Minnesota. You know, we had the Kurt Woods and Jeff Matillis and my safety, Jamal Harris. They all Brandon Owens when they went to Minnesota, but they got their degrees, right? And then we had them boys going off to school who were getting their paper. So they're now, but they balling though. You see them on the TV, you know, you see them playing, you know, having great careers and opportunities. Yeah, absolutely proud, 100%. But then knowing too that they are, you know, they drank the Kool-Aid. They know that there is something after football that you got to be ready for, just in case. You know, you were talking about it earlier with like Carnell and them and injury and all. It's like something after football. And I love to talk to Brandon. I see him on social media sometimes or call him, and he's working with kids up in Minnesota, you know, because he had that, you know, horrific injury. So he couldn't play no more. So it's like stuff happened. CJ Ron them get a chance to play in the league. Brandon Flowers doing great things in the league and all the guys, man. But it's just great to see them being great people too. You know what I mean? Just turning out to be good daddies and come back home, try to help out a little bit. You know, when I say help out, man, it ain't even the money and stuff. It's just like come and be touchable to these kids, to be like touchable, real, relatable. Just, definitely relatable and let them know that I started right here. I was number 20 at the Rocks too, so I get it. So, you know, a lot of that stuff.
So now you mentioned, you know, how, you know, a lot of these guys used to coach, you know, how they are great dads now, not just great ball players. Now for you, you are a dad of 2, right? So, you know, walk me through when you had your first son, man. How did that feel? You know, because I know me as a father, when I held my daughter, you know, I was just like, it changed me. Like, how did you feel when you first said, "Oh, I'm just"?
It was amazing because it's like I remember it was a winter in Minnesota. It's like, and my wife was in labor, and it's like, it's all we had to do. You know, just like she's in labor, and that experience, like you got to be there for, you got to make sure, you know, and then that excitement, right? I remember I was at the gym and I got the call, her water broke. So we had to meet up at the hospital. Her coworker took her to the hospital and we met up there. It's like, you didn't know what to do. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you're there. It's like, you know, it's waiting, dilated this. And then she had to get a C-section, like emergency, not emergency, but they just said, let's do it because the heart rate, whatever. But anyway, found out that was one of them things, they were doing it too fast. So when we had it, he was healthy. You know, came out, you get a chance to hold this little bloody baby and this little baby, you know what I mean? So it's like, that was probably the ultimate like award and prize and trophy and all stayed in this, you know, wrapped up into one. It's like, cause that's a creation that, you know, you and your wife did together and, you know, that expectations of now what, right? Now, like, how you going to do it? How you going to take care of him? Make sure he's going to be safe, you know, physically, emotionally, financially, you know, and it was just all that stuff. So now you start thinking outside of just yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, I can't go out with the boys on Fridays and Saturdays no more. Now it's like that little $25 for the club money got to go into the bank account now, right? So you start thinking, you know, differently. For me, I was ready.
You guys already wanted that, so you wasn't a mind from like, okay, I'm going to become a dad. It wasn't like a surprise, like, hey, honey, I'm pregnant.
No,
because that matters.
Oh,
that matters a lot.
Yeah,
the mental preparation versus like just out of nowhere, plays a major role.
And that's one of the things too. Even with our you know, we're gonna get to connect to greatness, but even with now coming back home and working with the athletes, like, listen, hey, slow down now. You know, all that jumping up and down, it can get you to a place where you don't want to be when you don't want to be there. So you know, and just having that, you know, nothing against them, because as long as you take care of your child, if it was unplanned, but you stepping up to the plate, that's fine. But it just feels different when you plan it, and now you literally got the diapers in the closet, and you already got the crib built and ready to go. You got the car seats in your car. So that was just like, that's different. You know what I mean? It's like where you know who you're gonna go to for the Lamar's class. You know who the midwife is gonna be. So it's like that planning. And that ain't all me. That's probably my wife did most of that planning. So I ain't gonna finna claim all that now. So, you know, I ain't know nothing about no Lamar's and all that stuff. So I just, you know, hey, we're gonna do this, be ready on this time. Okay.
Now in regards to your wife, y'all been together for years, a long time. And then as you know, man, like, I don't know if you know now, but I'm sure we all know it. We see that marriage is not what it used to be. A lot of young folks are not getting married like how you got married when you was young. Just not even young, just in general. Right? So we all seeing, based on the data, we all seeing a decline in marriage. But so for those that are married or newlyweds and want to get married, how do you and your wife like last so long, man? Because that's seeming impossible nowadays.
Man, we got a story. We're gonna write a book. I think we laugh about it. We definitely gonna write a book, because we did get married young and it was great. But just like you have the highs, you have some lows, and you just have to be able to, like, you know, like being in the boat when it's going to rock, you got to be able to rock with the boat, right? So if the boat going this way and you fighting and going that way, you're going to get sick. That marriage is going to get sick, right? And it's like, and it happened, right? It happens, but you got to be able to, like, compromise, you know what I mean? Because a lot of times with dudes, we love our wives, but we don't understand what they're saying half the time. So we just gotta ask, like, okay, what is it that you want? Like, what does that mean? Even?
Also, they're not good at communicating properly, though.
Well, you can't tell them that. You ain't gonna catch me on camera and say that. No, I think they're the best communicators in the world, right? As Donald Trump, they're the bestest ever in everything in the whole wide world, ever in the history of the world.
Oh man, but no, because describe your wife. Though. How was she? I'm sure she played a major role in who you are right now as a man, as a father, because I say I have to say, because I don't know if you are online, but online it's like this big debate nowadays, which I dislike it, strongly dislike it, where they put that where men and women are pinning up against each other. It's like this, man, that. It's just the most annoying thing in the world to me.
No,
like, you need both. You know what I'm saying?
You definitely need both. So you have to find that common ground, right? A lot of things people do, like, they argue over finances.
Yeah.
Boy, B, I can tell you right now, ever in the history since I met her day one, we have never, ever had an argument over finances. Because it's kind of like, we pay these bills first. Like, once these bills get paid first and taken care of, and I want to come on with some Jordans, which I ain't never buy a pair of Jordans a day in my life, I can do it because the bills paid, right? It's when the communication breaks down and you don't have those goals, right? So, and I didn't know about this early on in marriage, but that phrase, like, equally yoked, you got to make sure that y'all have the same goals and destinations that you want to get to, right? Like, we knew we want to have kids early so that they can be, you know, older when we get into our 50s, right? We knew that we wanted our kids to live in a house off of rip day one. And, you know, we knew that. It is something we wanted. We knew that we wanted them to go to certain schools and learn how to speak Spanish, right? Early. So those are things that we talked about, and and discussed, like in the beginning, right? And sometimes, it took work, right? Because you had to work, and people got to understand, like the man, like you talk about the band stuff. I do the cooking. I've always done the cooking. Like she can cook, right? She does like all the holidays. She can cook, but it's like I like cooking. That's what back to my stepdad, right? When doing the cooking stuff, so it's like it's not that she doesn't want to do the cooking. It's like I prefer doing the cooking because that's what I like. Right? But when we do that man-female roles, it's kind of like, and I know like culture now, because now we got so many cultures in Florida, especially in Florida and around the country. But it's like, don't let that cultural stuff get you in trouble, right? Yeah. I don't know what it's like growing up as a Haitian man. So that might have been different, especially in the 80s and the 90s. But we're in 2024 now. So for these young guys, it's like, you got to learn how to bend, right? You got to go with the flow. A lot of that stuff, and being a man and being a dad is teach the boys how to do the laundry.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, need to know that. It's just a life skill you just should know. Even cooking, like you said, like people think I'm mentioning cooking. No, bro, what you want to survive, bro?
And you want to thrive too.
Exactly.
I want to cook. So my thing is, I remember one time my wife, she always says this story. It's like she always did the laundry, folded the clothes up, and we had never put them away. We'll keep them in there. She said, I got something for y'all. She stopped doing the laundry, right? Now, I don't remember that, B, but that's what she said. But anyway, but it's interesting that it's little stuff like that, and you got to be able to laugh at it too. Like, you got to be able to laugh at it and have fun. And I think too, like, people don't date their wife. Like, take your wife out on a date, or the wife take your husband out on a date. Yeah. Right? Don't be sitting here and be like, you don't ever take me nowhere. Well, then make a plan and say, babe, we're going somewhere on Thursday, right? Should be both ways. And then it becomes habitual, right? And then now your kids, especially if you got boy kids, now they seeing how you supposed to like maybe treat, date. And now people yell that, I go and so. What does that mean? I go together. Like, what does that mean? What about a date? Do you take them out? Yeah. You just can't go sit up on the sofa all the time. Like, do y'all go out and do stuff? So I think learning that process has been helpful now in this second half of our marriage, right? Because you got stages of marriages, and it's like we got to make sure you plan a date, plan a trip, because it's like you ain't got to be up under each other all the time. Sometimes like I sit here and I find I got my chair in the house where I put my feet up, right? So now like I come home, she's sitting in that chair, be like, don't get comfortable. You know what I mean? That's my chair now. That's my Archie bunker chair, and it's like that's my little spot with my little remote, right? Yeah.
First of all, I think once again it's great that you guys are married for that long. Let me ask you one last thing about the marriage part. Does it get easier the longer you guys last? Is it easier now than it was before, or is it harder?
No, it's not harder or easier. It becomes like it becomes a joint task, right? So some people, if you don't put the work in, it can go either way, right? So it's kind of like you got to like be able to be direct and honest, and that's the hard part. Not honest about infidelity, stuff like that, but honest about, you know what? I'm so tired of you leaving your dang socks on the floor. Like, that's just getting on my nerves right now. You know what I mean? So you just got to keep it real. It's like, listen, like when I come to bed, it's like I want to watch TV. All right, but no, you got to go downstairs. When I come to bed, it's time for me to go to sleep. It's like little stuff like that. It's like, so now you got to respect the other ones. Like, well, I can watch TV if I want to. You know what? Yeah, you can, but now you got an argument, right? Somebody trying to go to sleep, so why not just go in the other room and watch TV? It's compromise. But you got to have that compromise. So it gets better if your compromising becomes better.
Let's talk about connect to greatness, right?
Okay.
Because number one, from what I've gathered so far, I feel like you are the perfect, correct person for this role, because you've lived that. Number one, you've seen, what a role model is, a male role model from your stepdad. You've seen what a team player is, how to be part of a team, how to even get coaching from folks that's not your parents by being in football. Yeah. Right? Yeah. You know how to be committed to things. And you are a great father and a great husband. You pretty much tap into everything that a young man needs, even with the work. You've had jobs. You've seen your stepdad at work. You've worked. You were a coach. I mean, literally, you coaching like plenty of boys that came out to be great people.
Yeah.
Not just great ball players. I said great people like Cornell, great friend of mine.
Right.
You know what I'm trying to say? No, way back. Great people. So to me, it makes sense that of course he's the correct guy for this.
Yeah.
So, but what made you say, you know what? Let me make a nonprofit for young black boys overall. Like, what was the thought process on that?
Man, I had zero thought. That was all my wife.
Really?
100%.
Ah.
She wanted to do something. I think it was when George Floyd. We got 2 black boys, dreads, right? You know what I mean? In the society, you know, that was going through some stuff. So it's like all this stuff that was happening. And it'll be 8 years, actually, this month, the 15th of August, it'll be 8 years that Connect to Greatness has been in existence, August 16th to be exact. And so it really started in the living room. She had all these ideas, and we had the little rip-off paper you put on the walls, and we had about 5, 6 friends that she called over and scheduled, and then just started. And then one time we was at home on the patio chilling, and some friends came over, and the dude had on a shirt that just had greatness on it, right? And man, her head always clicking and doing something, right? She that creative juices. And then we came up with it. It's like, that's it. Connect to it. We're gonna connect to greatness, and that literally became the name of it. Then we started doing the legwork, right? The paperwork, doing the 501c3 paperwork, putting together a board. Finding a couple of mentors / coaches, we call them coaches. And then it went on from that. Then we had about 6 boys to start, like our first year. We had all 6th graders and 1 7th grade kid. And them same 6th graders just graduated this past June 15th.
Graduated high school?
Graduated high school and from the program.
And then there was what? It was 6th grade when you first got them?
Well, it was 6th grade when we first got them. Yep.
And now what? Do you guys have any grants when you first started off? Or
no, when we first started out, we had no grants. And I know we went to a Boynton Beach City Council meeting, and I think the mayor, Mayor Stephen Grant, gave us like a little, they had a little cash reserve they can do it. And another one of the city council people gave us like $200. So we had like $400. And then we were meeting at the Carolyn Sims Center, and that was in kind. We didn't have to pay for the space to meet. So we've always met on Thursday. So Thursday night, 6 to 7:30, we just kept it going. A couple other boys joined. And then I think Cassandra had this great idea. So when the moms or the aunties or the grandmas was bringing the boys, we provided a space for the moms that can come in there, or the caretaker, the caregivers of those boys could come chop it up and together like a little sorority. So so even from the beginning, we always had the boys over here, the moms over here, and we called that Women of Boys. So that group formed, and then it became just like really good, because now, maybe the parents who feel like, I'm not going through the same stuff alone, raising these boys, it really takes a village. So so that whole connect part of it, was good. We was getting on the boys, man. We was getting on the boys like, y'all need to stop these video games and on the internet and all this stuff. And we weren't getting it. And then they said, okay, bring in these 2 guys. Okay, Bob and Joe, right? I don't know their names. They were YouTubers. Now we grown men. We ain't know nothing about YouTubers, right? So these YouTubers came in, they like 18 and 20, right?
Yeah.
And they were breaking it, man. We looking at each other like, like, for real? Like, so if you like this and you watch it and you subscribe and you like, Coach, we've been trying to tell y'all, that's why we be on. It's like, if they used to, you got to like their page or subscribe to here. And again, that was 8 years ago. And I'm like, how you get money?
You get crazy money.
Well, that's what I ain't know what content was. It's like, bro, we apologize, fellas. We apologize. Now, how you do that again? So now we have to accept like our reality and what these young boys coming up with, their reality, man, was different. So that was like a slap in the face, and a wake up call all at the same time.
And I think one thing I love a lot that you mentioned earlier is that you was able to, number one, admit that, you know what, these kids nowadays reality versus my reality back then is not the same. Even though back then video games and video itself would look down on, come from that old school era too, where my dad was like, no, go outside, we'll get a job. But things changed.
Yeah.
But you was like, you know what, man, y'all was right. One thing that always go wrong with like these kind of nonprofits regarding kids or young boys is that lack of connection. Right? Where it's like you could be too old school where you can't connect with the youth because like, bro, that's not how we do things anymore. Right. So being able to connect, like I said, the name itself, Connect to Greatness, connecting to them is like, man, okay, you know what? Let me hear you out. Yeah. Let me hear where your mind is at. What can I how can I help you become a better you? Right. But it's like say, hey, here's what I think you should do. Boom, 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 boom. You guys actually listen. To me, I think that's a big thing. So what made you, because it sounds like that's the route that you walking in right now, is like, okay, how can we help the kids out? But also too, let's Connor was saying this to me during a lunchbox talk segment. He was saying that when he sat down with the kids, he's trying to sit down and be like, hey, cool, what can I learn from y'all? What do you guys need help with? Yeah. You know what I'm trying to say? Let me hear you guys out. Because, you guys spend all that time in school hearing the teachers talk. Yeah. I'm not coming to you and just talk. No, let me hear you out. Yeah. Like, let's talk. Let's say your piece.
Yeah. And that's it. That's 100% correct, because at the end of the day, we're going to learn from them boys, right? And we can't sit there and preach. Like, they can go to church on Sunday and do all that stuff, but we'll listen. Yeah. Oh, okay. So all y'all feel that way? So, oh yeah, coach, oh dang, like for real, like so what y'all gonna do about it? Like how can we tackle that? What do you want to do? We had the boys, I don't know if he told the story at Freedom Shores, and they were getting into fights, right? And on the playground. And it's like, well, why y'all fighting out there? Okay, everybody fighting over the basketball, it ain't but one basketball, and they want to like get into it. Okay, well, let's sit down. Let's write a letter to the principal. And let's talk about how we can fix that, remedy the issue. Let's buy more basketballs. Yeah. Right? So as the adult, you would think, duh. Yeah. Why PE class only got one basketball and there's 25 kids? So let's do that. So now it's teaching them, right, conflict resolution. Yep. Making sure it's about your thoughts. And how do you do it the right way so you can be heard? You can't yell and scream. Let's put it in writing, your handwriting. Then we give it to the principal, and each one of y'all write it. And now he got 10 letters or 10 pieces of paper. It's hard to ignore that, right? Yeah. That's advocacy. Right. So now we teach the advocacy. So now we're looking at the political atmosphere right now. Bro, you gotta look out for yourself in the sense that if we don't band together, you ain't gonna get no basketballs. So band together them 10 boys and maybe he might get you one more. That's one more than you had, right? So now at least you got 2. But it just shows that, you have to speak up. You have to use your voice. And like black men, we've been doing this years ago, but I don't think it's been as prevalent the last 10 years as it was years ago. When we come together collectively and come on, man, let's band together. We can argue in the background now. Yeah. When we close the door, we can argue. Yeah. But once we're in front of this camera and out front, we're going to be united, right? And we're going to make sure that we get the best and the most we can for our boys. And that's what we do at Connect to Greatness.
Man, I love that. Now, for anyone that wants to lead, the volunteer, donate, where can they go? Even becoming a coach, I guess the website, that's what they
go to
have all that.
Connect to Greatness, .org.com. You can do it both ways. And there's an information page to donate money, to volunteer, to become a coach.
To find you though, like if someone that want to, reach out to you personally, how can they reach out to you?
You listen, my email is my name, Andre Thaddies at connecttogreatness.com. Right, just
.org? Connecttogreatness.org?
No, my email.com.
.com? Oh, okay. So that's Andre Thaddies at Connect Greatness, and it's still the two. So before we close out, because you've lived in life and gained a lot of experience as a father, a coach, a mentor, a businessman, like just as a person in general. Like, what are some great tip or a great tip you could leave to the viewers watching, man, that from what you've gathered from living on this planet that would help out somebody that's, either trying to chase their goals, dreams, or just want to survive in life?
Man, organization. Organize your mind too, right? So it's like, here's what I want. But you don't have to necessarily know the job, but it's like, here's what I want. I know I want to have my own business. Write that down. Like, what are the options? And then what are the requirements to do that? Organize it. So it's kind of like, so now you have that organization of what you want mentally. So now find out the steps. So when you do the step, because it's easy for me, if we cook, I know for me, I like to cook. I'm going to clean my meat first. Some people don't clean their meat. You know how they do.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to have my seasoning already in separate bowls ready to go or blended together, right? So I want that to be organized. So now I want to marinate the meat and put that back in the refrigerator, let it marinate for a little minute. Then chop up all the sides. If you need onions and tomatoes and pepper, then chop that all up and then get that ready to go. And then start your cooking. Just like life. If you want to just do it. So you got to let that thing marinate, right? Your thoughts, your process, and then the other steps, cutting up the onions and the peppers, that's going to get your certifications. Like if you want to do what you're doing right here, it's like you just can't go to Best Buy and buy a camera and be like, oh, I'm a blogger now, I'm a this now, I'm a YouTuber now. Like, you got to learn the game.
Yeah.
You know, you have to cut up them onions and cry a little bit and wash your hands and clean up your kitchen. But a lot of times our boys, man, they gotta be patient to do that.
Yeah.
They gotta be patient to do that. So just understand that stuff you think you can't get rich quick.
Yeah.
That don't exist, bro. You can win the lottery.
But even then, if you win it, you lose it fast. Win it, they lose
and
it.
if you're not organized, right, how you gonna plan the money? So I won $20 million. By the time Uncle Sam get his, I might walk home with an $11 million check. What you gonna do? So, just be organized. Absolutely.
I like that, man. Man, Coach Thaddies, man, my brother, listen, I'm glad you came by, man.
No problem at all. No problem at all.
I love what you're doing. Like I said, I was all like, Hatch, I need him on here, man, because I respect those that's doing good in the community, but also they're great in their lives, you know what I mean? Because we can learn a lot from each other. I learn a lot from you just by this talk, you know what I'm saying? Like I think a lot of time, man, we think we got to be famous in order to tell our story or just teach. I mean, no, you don't gotta be a celebrity, bro. Everyone lived a life that you could learn from. You could take the good and the bad. You could
100%.
You know what I'm saying? So
100%.
What you doing with them kids? I'm all about kids. Like I said, I spend a good chunk of my life working with kids. You know what I mean? So to me, when I see, especially black kids too, because I'm all about fatherhood as well, all about man, because one thing too, is that the men that we have here today, there were boys. Even the one that's went down the wrong path, there were a young boy that didn't have someone say, hey, don't go this route, go this route.
Right.
We forget that. Number one. Number two, a lot of time is that boys, once they get, now one thing I'm gonna tell you as well is as these boys get older, maybe you are doing this already, keep in touch with them. Even when they done with high school and college, because I say that because a lot of time we care about women and girls, even when they have to become women, we protect the women, and we care about the boys. But when they become men, we let them go. That's not right, bro. You know what I'm saying? We still got
we're gonna have them struggles. Like we just our last meeting, getting ready for this new fall year. So we had our first graduation class. Now we're putting together a Connect to Greatness alumni group.
I love that.
This is our first year. We got their email addresses, we got their phone numbers. For the ones who still here looking for jobs now, it's like how we're gonna plug them up with our contacts, because a lot of people in populations, when we try to tell our boys, it's not what you know, it's who you know sometimes. So now it's how can we connect them? He wants to get into automotive. Let's, what's the best school to go learn that stuff? Do you want to get into whatever you want to get into? What's the best place we can send him to help him out to get those certifications and things that's going to get them ready? You're only 18, bro. It's 18. Some people still in high school at 18, 19. So, yes, in the eyes of our society, you're an adult. But man, ain't anybody ready for nothing at 18. You ain't ready for nothing. Save up your money and just start learning how to invest. Save it a little bit. It's like them joys ain't going nowhere. You know what I mean? It's like, shit, they ain't going nowhere.
But man. So, but everybody listening, you guys just turned into a great, grown conversation. This is something that I enjoy doing. I enjoy today. And to everybody watching this, definitely go to connectgreatness.org. Reach out. donate, volunteer, support. You know what I mean? But it's not always about money sometimes, just sharing.
Yeah.
The website, just spreading the word.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost you anything just to share the word. You know what I'm saying? Because we all know someone that have kids, they have a boy.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? We all know someone that have a
and
son.
They don't have to be in trouble, right? That's the thing we tell them. Like, don't wait till they're in trouble, right? Let us put them on that path where they don't have to get into trouble. Like, we're not here to save people, right? We're just here to share the word, you know, share their stories and just help them be the best version of themselves.
Fact, man. As always, man, look, this is boy B, the CEO. You watch B.O.K podcast. And look, follow us on social media. And I'm talking about Menbuse.org. That's at Menbuse ORG. Subscribe, like, share, comment. And as always, when life get hard, sit back, kick back. It's gonna be okay. Peace out.